Hello, welcome back student. Today we are going to see the form tag. Okay, today we are going to see the form tag, this one. Okay, before going to this tag, first we will see what we have done in the last class. Quick review. Okay, like in the last class we have done the table tag. Okay, so I will change the color. So here we done in the last class the table tag. What is a table? Table is a matrix, and in the last class we have saw the row span as well as the column span. Okay, and we saw how to make the table in this format, as well as we saw that how to get the data in row and how to get the data is as per the column. Okay, this is you are getting the data like here in the row form. Okay, and here serial number, name, marks, it is getting in the column. So we saw the how to make a table with the help of HTML coding. So in that we have the table heading, okay, and table row, and we have the table definition. With these three we can make a table. Okay, and we did the practice also. So here there is a caption. Caption means what is your table. Like see here, I wrote here student marks. So this is a table caption. Okay, table caption. So TR, TH, first name, last name. So whatever you are writing TR in the table row, we are using the table heading, and table heading will be only one. Okay, one time you need to write TH first name, TH last name, TH age. Okay, in the next row table definition means what is the first name? Jill. What is the last name? Smith. What is his age? 50. Okay, next row. So how it is table is preparing? 1, 2, 3 example. So how many columns are there? 3. Table row TH. What is the first heading? First name, and second column name is last name. Third one is age. Okay, now in the TD we have the first name. What is the first name? If you go here, if you execute this first, then it will be the like Jill. Okay, like a Jill, then Smith, and age is 50. When you write another TR like this, then it will be here. The next is Eve, Jackson, okay, and 94. Then next row, this is a next row, it will go to the next row. Then here, from here to it's going to next row is John, Due, age is 80. So for given code, this we are getting the table output like this. Okay, and we did the practice also. And column span, as I shown you in the row span. So here if you want, maybe sometime you will get the 2 mobile numbers. So at the time if you write row span, the table will be displayed like telephone. Okay, it will display in this format like this. One mobile number is this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 5, 6, whatever the number, the 2 number, like this is called row span. Okay, fine. Now today we are going to see only the form theoretical part. In the next class we will see the practical. Okay, form is very important. Okay, IMP important. because whenever you design a website, form is important, okay, and based on the form only we will get the data, like example contact us, okay, contact us form. Okay. Now the first is form. Okay. The most common way for a user to communicate information from a web browser to the server is through a form. Okay. The main important, most common way to communicate, like if you have a problem, okay, like contact us form. If you want to get some information, if you have some query, problem, query, issue, you will ask the query in the form of in the form of form, HTML page. So what is the page? Contain form. Okay. So the user communication information from a web browser, whenever you are using the web browser, remember web browser is already we studied in the first class, web browser is like Chrome, Firefox, Safari, UC. Okay, this all the browser. Whenever you are using this browser, then to the server is through a form. With the help of form only you can communicate. Okay. Next point, HTML provide elements to generate the commonly used object on a screen form called control, widget or components. These all are same. So what the HTML providing element to generate the commonly used object on the screen form called controls or widget or component. Example, label will be there, text box is there, button is there, okay, then radio button, check box and so on. Okay, that all called control, widgets or component. Now the third point, each control can have a value usually given through user input together. The value of all the controls that have values in the form are called form data. That means in one form we will have like your name, okay, username, email ID, okay, email ID, phone number, the combination of this all, okay, all the values, that is called form data. Whatever the you are giving, like here I am giving Pathan, okay, email ID is something pathan@gmail.com, okay, phone number something, clear. So this is a form. Whatever the values you are giving here, value or values to this control, what is the control? Like label, text box, button, radio button, check, whatever the things, if you are giving some values, that values is called form data. Okay, fine. Now every form whose data is to be processed on the server request a submit button. Whenever you have using these things, you must have button, okay, button. Which button? Submit button. Submit button is required when to process on the server, okay. So this is also finished. When the user click the submit button, the form data is encoded and sent to the web server. Okay. Whenever after filling all the data with all validation, then it will go to the server. It will first encoded, means encrypted. You can say encrypted. Okay. Encoded means in some code will apply and send to the web server. Okay. So this is a form. Some points are there, important points, and this will be going to be used in when you are creating the form. So, first one is a common way, the most common way for a user to communicate information, okay, with the help of form. And in the HTML provides some of the provides element like control, widgets, component like label, text box, button, radio button, list, drop down, all the things will come under in control or widgets or component. And here all combination, like this is a form example, combination of all the values, okay, getting all the input from the user or already from the user, and it will control all the value of all the control in the form and call the form data. This is called form data. Then in every form must have the submit button to process on the server request, okay. When you click the submit button, the form data is encoded and sent to the web server. If you want to communicate with the web server, okay, web server, you must have the submit button. So, web server and web browser, we studied web server and web browser, the both are different, and we have already studied in previous classes. Go to previous class and see what is the difference between web browser and web server, okay. Next, okay, the form element, all the control of form appeared in the content of the form element, which is block element, okay, can have several different attributes, only one of which action is required, okay. Here form elements are there, that is a block element, and you can have a different attributes, only one of which action is required. Already I told you the difference between attribute, what is attribute, and element. Go the previous classes and go see, go the previous classes and see, okay. Then action attribute specifies the URL. What is the full form of URL? Uniform resource locator, okay. What is this? This is, it will locate the address where is your application or where is your website, where is your file, okay, of the application on the web server, that is to be called when the user click the submit button. Whenever the user click the submit button, this action attribute specifies the URL of the application on the web server, that is to be called when the user click the submit button, okay. Whenever the user click the submit button, the form will go in the action form and it will encode the data and send to the server, and it will use the URL of the application, okay. Now, the method attribute of form specified which technique, this is very important, get and post will be used to pass the form data to the server. This both will do the same work, but this is less secure and this is more secure. How? We will see the verses, means difference like get and post in the next slide, okay. So, fourth point, the default is get. So, if no method attribute is given in the form tag, get will be used, means get is a default, get is a default attribute, default method attribute, okay. Now, next point is the alternative technique is post. If you want to use the post, you need to mention in the form tag, okay. If you are not mentioning anything, then it is considering get. If you want to use the post, you need to mention here, okay, fine. We will see that, we will do the form practical also, but today just we will see the form theoretical, means what are the things are there and what are the you can do, and what is a web browser, web server, what is element, what is attribute. Okay, we will see today. In both techniques, the form data is coded into the string when the user click the submit button. What is the difference between, what is the similarity between get and post? The get and post similarity is the form data is coded into a text string. Both will code into a text string when the submit button is clicked. Okay. This text string is often called the query string. This is called a query string. Whenever you click the submit button, that is nothing but we are giving the query, we are asking the question, we have a problem and we are asking to the server. Okay. So this is a submit button. Text string is form called the query string. Okay. So here this is a thing, form elements. Now we will see the get versus post. What is get and post? One disadvantage of the get method is that some server place a limit on the length of the URL. URL string means, what is URL? Uniform resource locator. So they will give some of the length of the string and truncate any character past the limit. Example, if it has 25 characters limit, okay, limit limit, if you have more than 25 characters, that is a 30, so the remaining 5 will truncate means you will not get exact value what are you looking for. Okay. So this is a simple example. If the character size is 25 and your link size is 30, okay, 30 characters, then remaining 5 character will truncate. Okay, truncate means it will not work properly. So this is a major and one big disadvantage of get. Another, so if the form has more than a few control, get is not a good choice. If you have a more than a few control, means if you are using more control, then get is not a good choice. You need to go to the post. Okay. Next, because the form value are displayed by the browser, okay, by the browser it will display the value. Get should not be used if sensitive information such as password or credit card number including the form data. That means if you are entering the form data, okay, so you should not in the browser, in the address bar, okay, in the address bar, like form dot html, okay, here it will be like username is equals to Pathan and question mark, password is Pathan. So in the browser you can see the username as well as the password if you use get method. Okay, if you use the get method, then it will use the you can see the username and password in the browser. So you should not use whenever you have a password or credit card numbers, this kind of things in the form data. If you are using, you must use the post. Okay, you must use the post method. Okay. The next one is, when the post method is used, there is no length limitation for the query string. This is a major advantage of the post. So obviously it is better choice when there are more than a few control in the form. Okay, if you have more controls, like example, take the example like name, okay, first name, last name, middle name, email, phone number, mobile number, okay, year, date of birth. If you have like number of fields in the form, better to go with post. Why? Because there is no limitation method. Okay, there is no limitation. If you have a simple like 1 or 2 point like name, mobile number, so this you can go with the get. But if you have a more fields, more input you want to get from the user, you must use the post method. Okay, there is, because no length limitation. Okay, next, there are also some security concern with get that are not a problem with post. As I told you, in the get you can see the username and password, but in the post you cannot see the username and password in this format. It will be some different encrypted form. Okay, so this is little bit secure from the get. Okay, post is more secure than get. Okay, so this is a get versus post. Okay, now next one is the input element. Okay, commonly used control are specified with the inline element input, including those for text, password, checkbox, radio button, email address, reset and submit. Okay, this is a commonly used control or wedges or component. Okay, specified with the inline element input, including those of text, password, checkbox, radio button, email address, reset and submit. Okay, this is the input elements. The next, the type attribute which specifies the particular kind of control is required in the input element. Means, is this a like a password, then you need to mention in the input field. If it is a text box, you need to insert the text. If it is an input field, in the input field you need to mention like button. Okay, what are you using, what control you are using, that you need to write in the input element. Okay, for what kind of attributes are you going to use for the element. All the previously listed control except reset and submit also required a name attribute. Okay, for reset button as well as submit button we need the name attribute. Okay, next point, the value of the name attribute are included in the form data that is sent to the server. Okay, name attribute, just remember in simple word, attribute is nothing but like a property. Okay, and element is nothing but like a value, means whatever it is displaying. Okay, remember this simple difference. Attribute is nothing but it is a properties, means any property do you want to give? Element means whatever, after giving the attributes, whatever the content you are going to get on the screen, that is called element. Remember the simple things, okay, in simple way. Okay, they are used by the server form processing software to find the specific component value in the form data. When we call the form data means all like text, password, username, checkbox, all combination, then it will call the form data. What it is telling, they are used by the server from form processing software to find the specific component value in the form data. Like you will use the, as I told you, you can use the password attribute, text or button. So here the component, it will find the specific component value in the form data. Means if you are writing name, the name value will be display specific. If you are writing DOB, date of birth, then date of birth only capture, it should not come at the place of date of birth your name, at your name should not come the date of birth. So it will find the specific component values in the form data. Okay, the controls for checkbox and the radio button requires a value attribute which initialize the value of the control. Okay, value of the control. Like if you have like most commonly is like this is represent as radio button. Okay, this represented as radio button, and here like male and female. Okay, and this small square box is represent as checkbox. Okay, checkbox. Fine. Checkbox, like in radio button most commonly used in the male, female, and if you have a branches like CSC, IT, okay, in the checkbox we can use preferable job. Okay, preferable job like accountant. Okay, or multiple you can check here, but here only one, in the radio button only one can select, SELECT, select. In the checkbox you can select multiple. Okay, like account subject, take the example of subject, account, ALC, okay, and WAD. Okay, so multiple subject you can select. So this is multiple subject, and here like male, female, this is only you can be a male or female. If you are not under in this two, so you can create a new one, others. Okay, is up to you. Fine. So this is a circle, not a square. Okay, circle. So this is a form input element. Okay, so just simple I will show this, and text element example. Form action nothing, means we are not giving anything here, any action. Why we are not giving? Because we are no server side scripting is specified. Now I am not using the server side scripting, because of that I am not writing anything. In the coming classes we will add here. Okay, P, input type is equals to text. What is the type? Input type is text. Name is equals to the name. Okay, name is equals to the name. We are giving some name to this input type. And what is the size? Is 25. I am giving the size 25. Okay. So here note, if size is not specified, default is 20. If we did not specify the size, the form will execute, but the size will be 20. Okay. And action, like as I told you, since no server side scripting yet specified. So here why we are giving this name, because you can create some another one, input why it is okay, input type is equals to text. So if you have more text properties are there, text attributes, so for that every time you need to give the name, like the name, it will be a last name, L name, to recognize easily where we are doing the things. The size is, I am giving 25 for this also. Okay. And this is input tag we are opening. So as I told you, whenever you open the tag, that must be closed. You can open, as I gave you the example of P, you can open and close. Okay. So here, so you can write P and you will give some attributes here, okay, like color, then you can close and you can P like this. Okay. In the same way, here in the input, what we are, this is opening tag, but here I am closing. Can you see this slash? So this is close, and whatever you want to display here, you want to display here like name. Okay. That I will show you encoding the label as well as the text field. Okay. So here is clear, whenever you want to give some input to the in the form, like how it will display, you will get like a text box like this, and you can write the name like Pathan. So what is this Pathan? You must write here. So this is called label, okay, name, and this is called input field. This one is a input field and this is a label. Okay. How to encode it, the label as well as the input field, I will show you in the next slide. Here same, what is the maximum length? You can give the maximum length as well. Okay. So if you want to give, like this is a normal text, whenever you write in the form, like this is a text box. Okay. In the text box, if you are writing the text box, in the text box, if you are writing like Pathan, it will display written Pathan. Okay. When you go to this input type Pathan, sorry, input type password, name is equals to my password, and size is 10 or maximum size is 10. So here another text box is displayed, but when I am writing password, it will display like this. Okay. It will display like this. Okay. Now, so whenever you write the password, so it will display on the web page in this format. If you write the text, then it will display on the page like this. Okay. Next, text element. Okay. Text element. So this text element, how to add, we will see here. This will be the last slide, then I will stop. text box as well as most control element should be labeled. Labeled is very important, very important. If you have an empty text box, what I need to keep here, what I need to write here, should I write my name or my department, my phone number, what should I need to write? Here label is very important. Okay. Labeling could be done simply by inserting text into a proper place in the form, like here phone number input type. If you write in this, that also it will display phone number. Okay. But if you use the label tag, if you use the, like here take the example, if you use the label tag, then it will be in a good form. Okay. It will be a proper way to write the label name. If you are not writing the label also, no problem, directly you can write, but most of the browser it will give problem if you use the label. Like see, a control and its label can be connected by putting both of them in the content of label element as in the following. Here we are opening tag, okay, and here is closing tag. So here I am writing what I want to display on the web page, like phone colon input type text name is equals to the phone. Means if the text is here, text box will appear here, input field. So I can easily identify while reading the label that I want to write here the my mobile number. Okay, like this. Clear? So label is very important when you are giving any text field. Now the text box and its label are encapsulated together. Okay, here encapsulated together at one place. Okay. In the next class, we will see about the checkbox, radio button. Okay. Next class we will see the radio button, and we will see checkbox, and we will do the practical. We will do the practical on form. Okay. So today's is this theory. Okay. See, so what we have learned today we see what are the form is required, like web browser, form data, and what is control, widgets, component. Okay, and what is web server, and we saw the element and attribute, as well as we gone through the URL, and the most important thing in the form is get and post. Okay, get and post, which is important and which one is secure, less secure, we saw that here. Okay, and after that we saw the input element, how to input element use to insert the fields in HTML. With the help of input this we can insert the field in the form. Okay, that we will do in practical. Just I shown you this theoretical. Fine. So in the next class we are going to use the radio button, checkbox, practical on the form. Okay. Now thank you very much.